Well, hello everyone. I'm Crystal Cruz here with Sydney Jollyvet. We are bringing you a full recap of the hidden gems we discovered across West Texas in our Uniquely West Texas series. You know, we had an amazing time learning about and uncovering some of the unique spots that make our region so special. A lot of people think West Texas is just flat land and dirt, but we're here to show you it is so much more, from scenic landscapes to small town treasures. There's a lot to explore if you just know where to look.
That's exactly right, Crystal. Our team was able to hit the road and explore some unique spots across the region. And now we're bringing you a full recap. Whether you're planning your next weekend getaway or just want to see what makes our area special, we've got you covered. So stick around. You might be surprised what you've been missing right here in your own backyard.
Well, first, we'll start right here at home in Midland and Odessa. Then we'll head to far west Texas to explore Monahans, Pecos, Marfa, and Marathon. From there, we'll make our way to the Concho Valley with stops in Christoval and Brady before heading back up to the Permian Basin in Big Spring. Along the way, we are going to share some facts and fun facts and stories that make each of these places truly unique.
Well, buckle up. We're starting our trip right here in Midland, where we had the chance to visit the Bush Family Home Historic Site. It's a place where you can step back into time and experience what life was like for President George W. Bush and his family during the post-World War II era. Sonji Milburn takes us through the experience.
At the corner of H Street and Ohio Avenue lies a journey through history, once home to President George H. Bush and his family. Historian Aaron Frigo says the past shapes the future and should never be forgotten.
Well, I think it's important to kind of see where one of, actually two of our presidents got their start. Obviously, we like to focus on, you can become president wherever you are.
The Bush Family Home is on the National Register of Historic Places and gives a glimpse into the daily life of the famous political family who lived here from 1951 to 1955. The home is complete with exhibits and original furnishings, all tied to a unique story, starting in the living room.
So this is a 1949 Hoffman TV. This was the same make and model that they were gifted for Christmas of 1949 from Barbara's father.
To the kitchen.
Here we have something called uranium glass. You'll find these a lot in antique stores. They are great collectibles, and they are actually from kind of the early 1800s and into the 40s and 50s. And as you can see, they light up.
To the landline.
They had a shared party line. If you don't know what that is, that means that you shared the phone line with other households.
Finally, to George W.'s childhood room.
This dresser did actually once belong to George W. Bush.
The home has been a statement in the community for years. George H. Bush went on to become the 41st president of the United States, and his son, George W. Bush, became the 43rd president. Since the home opened to visitors in 2006, it welcomes about 5,000 visitors each year. And you can expect big changes coming soon. The historic site will honor 9/11 victims by adding a 9/11 journal where visitors can write their memories. In 5 years, a new learning center will be added to the site to host more programs, along with a gift shop and an exhibit room. Reporting in Midland, Sonji Milburn, News West 9.
And after exploring President George H.W. Bush's post-World War II roots right here in Midland, it's time to take a quick trip down Fun Facts Lane, starting with why Midland is a top 10 spot for new families to live. Here's why. Homes are more affordable than average, healthcare is accessible, and childcare costs are lower than in many cities. Over half the population lives near a park, perfect for the city's young kids. Plus, there are strong schools and college options. Midland offers a mix of value, care, and fun for growing families. And now, if you're new to Midland, you might wonder why it's called the Tall City when other Texas cities have bigger buildings. The name comes from Midland's impressive downtown skyline, featuring landmarks like the Petroleum Building and the Bank of America Tower, both rising tall thanks to the city's booming oil industry. Compared to other small towns, Midland has some of the tallest buildings around. This nickname has been part of the city's identity for decades, reflecting its big growth and even bigger ambitions. And now to the heart of Odessa, where you'll find a piece of London history. The Globe of the Great Southwest brings the work of William Shakespeare to life in a replica of his famous theater. The Globe of the Great Southwest, located on the Odessa College campus, is a permanent replica of the original Globe Theater built in 1598. The idea began in 1948 when English teacher Marjorie Morris inspired her students to recreate the historic playhouse with blueprints donated by a local architect. And after years of community fundraising, the project slowly came to life. Ground was broken in 1958, and by 1964, Odessa had its own version of the Shakespeare stage.
Shakespeare's Globe, the place where Romeo and Juliet was born, where Hamlet was first performed. I mean, that's a sort of sanctuary of theater. And when Marjorie Morris decided to build our version of the Globe over here, we were inspired by it.
Now, we've just uncovered a piece of London history right here in Odessa, but that's not the only surprising thing about this West Texas town. Let's now take a look at some fun facts and what Odessa is really known for. If you didn't already know, Odessa is famous for its high school football culture, especially the Permian Panthers. Their legendary team gained national fame through the book and movie Friday Night Lights. Around here, football isn't just a game, it's a way of life. And here's another little fun fact out of Odessa. You may notice giant jackrabbit statues scattered around town. That's because the jackrabbit is a longtime symbol of the city, dating back to the days when rodeos included rabbit roping events. In fact, back in 1932, a cowgirl made history by roping a jackrabbit on horseback in just 5 seconds. The unique tradition ended in the late 70s, and after concerns from the Humane Society, but the jackrabbit still stands tall as a quirky piece of Odessa's history.
Well, Sydney, that's pretty crazy, actually roping a jackrabbit.
In 5 seconds?
In 5 seconds? That's going to
insane.
take some talent right there.
Exactly, Crystal.
Kind of wish we would have been able to see that.
I
but
know.
Yeah, I understand the concerns.
Right.
Well, buckle up. We are going to be heading further into West Texas. Our next stop, Monahans. Tucked away in this small town is a little building packed with something truly unique that's all meant to be shared for generations to come. From burgers to bottling, one Monahans Museum is preserving a flavorful piece of West Texas history. Inside the Million Barrel Museum site, you'll find a small building filled with Coca-Cola collectibles and stories that span generations. News West 9's Cameron Leal takes us inside the Big Burger and Coca-Cola Museum.
You might have heard of the Million Barrel Museum before, but what you don't know is that this little building within the Barrel Museum site has fizzy pieces of deeply rooted history. This is the Big Burger and Coca-Cola Museum.
Back in the 20s, there was a traveling salesman from Midland. His name was John Dunnigan. He bought rights from a lady named Hope Smith, and that was for a Coca-Cola facility. The very first one was in McCamey, and it did well, and he decided to expand. So he came to Monahans, and because of the railroad, they had started a well, Monahans Well. So Mr. Dunnigan started a Coca-Cola plant here in the 30s. Robert and Jay Conrad were his sons, and Jay Conrad worked in the one here in Monahans, and his brother Robert worked in the one in Marfa.
The rich Dunnigan legacy in West Texas spanned decades, paving the way for other locals to leave their mark on the Coca-Cola story in Monahans.
There was a gentleman working for Jay Conrad, and his name was Dan Wedzig, and he was the bookkeeper and the payroll officer. And he worked for Coca-Cola about 10 years. The plant did really well, and they decided to move locations. This was in the 60s, so that's where there is a building left now here in town. That was the final place where they had rebuilt. And in the 80s, the plant had an explosion. And even though they did repair what was destroyed, the plant they decided to close.
Dunnigan supervised the plant's reconstruction after a June 26, 1980 gas leak explosion rocked the production building, according to a 1987 article written by the Dallas Morning News.
Mr. Wedzig, he worked for Coca-Cola probably about 10 years, and he decided to open a little restaurant called the Big Burger. And that's where he and his wife, they just collected memorabilia their entire time that they were at the Big Burger. When Mr. Wedzig, he became ill and he passed away, his widow, Miss Elaine, she decided to donate many of the artifacts that we have here. Coca-Cola just kind of found its little home here, and then the Wedsigs kind of carried that tradition on with the Coca-Cola memorabilia.
Now, West Texans can learn the history from the shelves and walls that keep its story alive.
This is a map of the United States, and everywhere you see a pin with a little white head, that is where we have a Coca-Cola bottle from that area. So all of these bottles to my left are marked on this map.
Bottles like these were once cleaned using a Meyer Dumore, one of the preferred bottle washing machine manufacturers in 1938. The 8-wide machine at the Coca-Cola Bottling Company in Monahans could wash 100 bottles per minute.
If you blink, you're gonna miss it. We have shelves behind you and shelves to my right. They have just the tiniest little pieces of Coca-Cola. And some of them are like the little cars that we have, or the cases of bottled Coke, and the bottles really come out.
And guests don't usually leave with just the history. They leave with Coca-Cola's bizarre origin stories.
It was formulated as a cough medicine, and years later they put actual cocaine in the Coca-Cola. So I think people walk away with stories like that and they laugh about it, you know, that we have something that is a refreshing soft drink, you know, with popcorn or with a hamburger, but it really had a different story when it first began.
And while its early recipe might raise eyebrows today, Coca-Cola's legacy in Monahans is one the community still proudly pours into its history.
It was because we had one of the bottling plants here, and it just became part of us. But also with the Wedsigs, when they had the Big Burger, they just welcomed people in, and it didn't matter if you were a high school student coming over for lunch or if you were a family taking your entire family out for dinner. The Wedsigs just, they made everybody feel comfortable, and of course the Dunnigans, they were proponents in the Sandhills, and they were massive donors to the archives. And so I think the Coca-Cola plant just is part of them that lives on, that we get to keep.
Sipping in Monahans, Cameron Leal, News West 9.
Well, after taking a deep sip of history at the Million Barrel Museum, where there was a room full of Coca-Cola collectibles, we're going to be hitting the road again. But first, we want to give you some fun facts about this small West Texas town. Monahans is where bigger really is better. Back in the 1920s, an oil company dug a massive million-barrel storage tank right into the ground. Now, this was a bold move during the oil boom, and today it stands as one of the West Texas's quirkiest landmarks. Now, for our second fun fact about Monahans. The town gets its name from Pat Monahan, who discovered water there back in 1881. That well kicked off the town's beginnings, originally called Monahan's Well. By 1891, it officially became Monahans and later boomed with the oil in the 1920s. Today, it's a proud piece of West Texas history. And Sydney, you would never think that water was actually what made Monahans Monahans.
Exactly.
It's a desert out here.
Exactly, really dry, but you always have that Coca-Cola to quench your thirst.
There you go.
Well, saddle up. Our next stop is Pecos, Texas, where the bulls go wild and the cowboys chase adrenaline. This town isn't just about rodeo spirit, it's where true rodeo history was made. There's one museum in Pecos, Texas, keeping the spirit of rodeo alive and well. It's a tribute to a West Texas tradition that's as bold as the riders themselves. News West 9's Sonji Milburn has the story.
It's a small town with a big claim to fame. Pecos is home to the world's first rodeo, and the Texas Rodeo Hall of Fame is keeping that legacy alive. This is where sport and cowboy history come together. Founded 25 years ago by local pharmacist and rancher John Redeker, the hall honors those who shaped rodeo in West Texas. Now located in the historic old T&P train depot, the museum features memorabilia of rodeo contestants, music directors, barrelmen, bullfighters, and entertainment acts. And in 1932, even Bonnie and Clyde attended the rodeo, 2 years before their deaths. The hall runs on donations, fueled by those who believe in preserving rodeo history.
This is historical because it's the depot for there, but a lot of the old cowboys came to the rodeo. They rode the train here, and so they got off at this depot, and walked down to the arena or rode their horses, whatever they did to get to that rodeo.
So far, 72 rodeo legends have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and each year the board selects 2 to 3 new honorees. Reporting in Pecos, Sanji Milburn, News West 9.
And now that we've got a look inside Pecos's hidden gems that's keeping the rodeo spirit alive here in the Wild Wild West, it's time to wrangle up some wild fun facts you might not know, starting with a legendary cowboy who's larger than life. Pecos is famously tied to the folk hero Pecos Bill, a mythical cowboy whose wild adventures are part of Texas lore. The story goes, Bill fell off his family's wagon near the Pecos River as a baby and was raised by a pack of coyotes. They taught him how to survive in the wild, and the rest is a tall tale history.
Well, now let's make our next move to Marfa, Texas, a tiny town with a big reputation of art. And the hidden gem we're about to show you is a must-see for lovers of art, history, and so much more. Trust us, this stop is anything but ordinary. Now, if you're into handcrafted ships, powerful history, and a whole lot of heart, get ready for something truly special. News West 9's Cameron Leal takes us inside a one-of-a-kind museum where faith, art, and stories from the Holocaust all come together in a most unexpected way.
This is the Aliyah Bet. Aliyah means go home, and to the Jews it means go home to Israel.
In the quiet desert town of Marfa stands a museum unlike any other. Here, the story of Aliyah Bet, a post-Holocaust mission to return Jewish survivors to their homeland, comes alive through handcrafted ships and untold stories.
Nobody in the world knows this happened unless they come here.
Kim Thornsberg, a master model shipbuilder, has dedicated his life to preserving this little-known chapter of Jewish resistance. Each vessel here represents a real boat that defied British blockades to bring Holocaust survivors home.
They say Hitler killed all these Jews. It really wasn't. I know he killed them. I know they had the camps. We all know that. How did they get there? All those nations fed them the entire war. They wanted all the Jews gone, all of them. But this document here, they can't argue with me at all, because this was written 2,016 years ago, 1,600 years, 2,600 years ago, this document.
Through historical documents and ancient texts, Kim challenges visitors to look deeper, believing the roots of World War II were foretold in writings nearly 2,600 years old.
My wife. So I married her out of Clear Blue. She found a book over there in San Antonio bookstore, and I looked at it and said, Peggy, this got a boat on it. I'm not building that. I told him not, but read the book. I'll read the book. I fell in love with it. It was the story of the Aliyah Bet.
It was Peggy, Kim's wife, who inspired his second life's work. With her encouragement and a vision she believed came from God, Kim began building again. But this time, each model was more than just a hobby, it was a calling.
And it was Peggy's idea to build this museum here. So once again, she had me build this museum. Then she went and found stuff like that and painted this.
A painting of the exact boat Kim was about to build. Peggy never saw the blueprint, but somehow knew what was coming.
Now I want to show you this. This is a dream. A little boy played this, and I listened to the whole thing. He was playing it on the piano. I told God, I said, don't let me wake up. I want to hear the song. So when I finished it, I went to my piano and I played it. This is strictly from a dream. And it took me 2 weeks to play it over and over and over again until I got it written down.
Inspired by dreams and guided by faith, Kim also composes music like this song, Captured in a Dream. He believes it's part of a divine pattern, one tied to numbers, music, and the Jewish experience.
I asked God for a song. I said, would you give me a song, God, that has a pattern in it? That's what this book's about. This is the pattern of the universe.
His books, his music, and his models, all rooted in a belief that nothing is random and everything points back to something bigger than us.
The only place in Marfa that has any art. That's what they say. And as Peggy said all the time, they love this. And they now 9 years, it's amazing how many friends of theirs are now coming. Now I'm having a lot of people coming to see this museum.
In a town known for contemporary art, Kim and Peggy's museum is a reminder that history, when preserved with love, becomes more than memory. It becomes mission.
The only place in Marfa that has any art. That's what they say. And as Peggy said all the time, they love this. And they now 9 years, it's amazing how many friends of theirs are now coming. Now I'm having a lot of people coming to see this museum.
In Marfa, where stories are often told through sculpture or canvas. One couple is telling theirs through faith, wood, and a dream. In Marfa, News West 9, Cameron Leal.
Well, now let's dive into some fun facts from the artsy town of Marfa, where creativity meets the desert. Marfa is a must-visit for art lovers, thanks to Donald Judd. Back in the 1970s, he turned old military buildings into giant art installations. Today, those works are making Marfa a hotspot for artists, collectors, and yes, hipsters too. And have you ever wondered how Marfa got its name? Well, it wasn't from a cowboy or an oil tycoon. It actually came from a book. Back in 1883, Marfa was just a railroad stop. The wife of a railroad exec was reading the novel Michael Strogoff and suggested the name Marfa after a character in the story. And just like that, it stuck, Sydney.
Well, the saying goes, reading is fundamental, and it's just a whole other world when you open a book.
Well, there you go.
Exactly. Now to a place not too far from Marfa, but still out in the wide open beauty of far West Texas. Next up, Marathon, Texas. This small town may be quiet, but it's a go-to spot for those looking to unwind with stunning views, cozy stays, and that peaceful desert vibe. Marathon is West Texas relaxation at its finest. I had the chance to hit the road and take a drive out to the Marathon to give you an inside look at a hidden gem that just might be your next go-to vacation spot for some serious relaxation. In the heart of West Texas, nestled in the quiet town of Marathon, there's a hotel that feels more like a living postcard than just a pit stop. I'll take you to the Gage Hotel, where history, hospitality, and a touch of luxury make it a favorite for travelers looking to unwind in style.
It's not flashy, and it's not trendy. But ask General Manager Philip Miller, the Gage Hotel is unforgettable.
I would describe it as an oasis of West Texas. It's a getaway for people that just want to get away from the hustle and bustle of the big towns.
The Gage Hotel has stood tall since 1927, welcoming travelers with rustic charm and old school comfort.
They love the feel of the old Western decor. Each room is decorated different, so they get a different experience if they come multiple times. These were made in Mexico specific for these courtyard rooms. So each door, if you kind of see, it has the old school latch.
CEO Cody Roberts describes a visit to the Gage like stepping into a time capsule. And it's not just what's inside that draws people back.
Everyone comes back to the Gage because of the consistency. No matter when they come, whether it's spring, fall, or summer, they know what to expect. We know them, we welcome them by name, know their dog's name, we welcome everybody in like their family.
It's not the cookie cutter, quick, hello, how are you? It's people really want to know your story.
The view, bright and colorful. The gardens, lush and green, something you wouldn't expect in the middle of the West Texas desert. Management says the hotel could one day become the Gage Spa and Resort.
For the Gage and for Marathon, it truly is an experience to come. We have a lot of shopping in town. We have an art gallery and stores. But at the end of the day, you can relax in our spa. We have bars and restaurants that accommodate 5-star dining and cuisine that are out of this world.
As Marathon continues to grow, the Gage remains its heart and soul.
But mainly when people come to the Gage, they may not have any high expectations because of we're in a very remote area. We're in far West Texas, and it is hard to get people out here, but that's also part of the charm. It's hard to get to, but it's even harder to leave.
In Marathon, Sydney Jolivet, News West 9.
And now that we've shared a perfect spot for some relaxation, let's dive into some fun facts about the small West Texas town of Marathon. If you've ever wondered how Marathon got its name, it's a Greek connection. The town was named by Captain Albion Shepherd, a railroad surveyor who thought the wide open plains looked just like those of Marathon, Greece, a place he once sailed as a ship captain. And now on to our second fun fact. Marathon may be small, but it's had its moment on the big screen. Its stunning desert views and historic charm have made it a go-to filming location. The town served as a scenic backdrop in the 1984 film Paris, Texas, and even appeared in scenes from Fandango. It's a favorite for filmmakers looking to capture that classic West Texas feel. Crystal, that could not be more true. When I first moved here, the first thing that I saw on the road was a tumbleweed.
Well, that is definitely much more beautiful than just a tumbleweed. That area is fabulous.
Absolutely.
I encourage everybody to stop by and visit. Okay, well, now we're flying high to the beautiful Concho Valley, landing in charming Cristobal, Texas. Here, it's all about peaceful mornings filled with birds chirping and pecan trees as far as the eye can see. If you're looking for a slice of small town Texas with nature soundtrack and sweet treats for the trees, Cristobal has you covered. It's an attraction tucked away in a place you wouldn't expect. Underneath the pecan trees of Cristobal, thousands of hummingbirds make a summer pit stop. As Sean Humphrey finds out, some visitors have made longer trips than the birds.
I married Dan 20 years ago, so I got a crash course in birds that first summer. He built the house that we live in back in the mid-60s. All of this, where we have buildings now, was just trees.
In the decades since then, the birds have returned to Cristobal's Hummer House every summer. Dan and Kathy Brown have made it a business, opening a bed and breakfast on the property. The cottages here are popular from April through July.
They're booked all the time.
And everything here is a product of Dan's lifelong love of nature.
And seeing the country and growing up with nature makes you much more aware of what's out there and how to live with it and to enjoy it.
Most out-of-towners probably couldn't find Cristobal on a map. Just hundreds live here. But that hasn't stopped tourists from coming to see the birds.
We've had guests here from Germany, from England, from Japan, all over the United States. Every Saturday, we're just amazed.
The Browns partner with Charles Floyd, a biologist and longtime bird researcher. He's responsible for banding the hummingbirds that land here each year. The property is a natural habitat for the birds. The people have come later. But that means you can expect more than just a handful of flying guests.
We have more than 58,000 records of birds of all kinds. We have more than 20,000 hummingbirds that have been banded here during that time.
Dan says that means he has to brace himself by the time the first ones arrive.
It's, your work is going to be starting, so it is a challenge there. You look forward to them, but you're kind of glad when you leave because it's a lot of labor involved.
Still, Kathy says it becomes a labor of love for both of them when visitors come.
Dan and I both we love people, and we love sharing this place with people. If we weren't people, we wouldn't be in this business. But we do enjoy meeting people. We enjoy sharing what God has blessed us with here.
Sean Humphrey, News West 9.
If you're into hummingbirds and pecan trees in Cristobal, you might also want to know what else you might be missing. Let's fly into the first fact about this charming little town. Cristobal, Texas may be small, but its ranching roots run deep. In the late 1800s, the town became a key hub for sheep and cattle ranching, thanks to its location on the South Concho River. Tom Green County was once one of the nation's top wool producers, and Cristobal served as a major gathering point during shearing season, a proud piece of West Texas history that still echoes through the community today. Now to a second fun fact about the small town. It was named after pioneer Christopher Columbus Doty, who originally suggested the name Cristobal. When the post office opened in 1889, the name evolved to what we know today as Cristobal.
Well, it's nice to get some new fun facts, but be sure to grab your musical instruments for your next stop in Brady, Texas, where country music beats strong at the heart of West Texas. Known as the true heart of Texas, Brady embraces its musical roots with hometown charm, toe-tapping tunes, and a proud country spirit that's hard to miss. For fans of country music, there exists a treasury of history, and it's located right in the heart of West Texas. Ethan Purcell has the story.
Ethan Purcell here in front of the Heart of Texas Country Music Museum in Brady, Texas, a hub of honky-tonk history for over 30 years. But museum staff tells me this place has a story of its own.
It all began with a 19-year-old Tracy Pitcox, working at Brady's KNEL radio, interviewing country singer Rose Maddox, who'd just had all her stage wear bought out by Hall of Famer Marty Stewart. all except for one lone dress, which Pitcocks jumped at the chance to buy.
She said, I've got a bill at the pharmacy for $100 that I need to pay. If you'll send me a check for $100, I'll mail you that dress. And that actually started the bug of us collecting some of this great memorabilia from the country music singers.
After that, Pitcock started asking artists performing in and around Brady if they'd donate suits, boots, instruments, anything they've used in performances over the years, even purchasing some with the museum's publicly supported acquisition fund.
In the back of my mind, I always felt like we were going to have a little museum to house this stuff. And so after a while, we had all this great stuff, but we had nowhere to actually display it.
And with a little help from investors and Country Music Hall of Famer Kitty Wells, that dream became real. Ground was broken and the original 1,200-foot Hall of History officially opened in 2000. But the musical artifacts and their history extend beyond the museum walls as well. Cars owned by Johnny Bush and Tammy Wynette are parked right outside, along with a tour bus owned by the legendary Jim Reeves, which the museum obtained at a bankruptcy auction in Tennessee.
This is the biggest piece we have at the Heart of Texas Country Music Museum. We bought the bus for $3,000, and then it cost $3,100 to haul the bus from Madison, Tennessee to Brady, Texas.
But why do it? Why collect all these exhibits? One country recording artist, Daryl McCall, with a suit of his own on display, explains.
It means everything to me. It shows me that people are still knowing who I am and wanting to know who I am, and I'm proud of this because it's country music.
I just like it. I wanted to see all the outfits because it's really impressive, and he's got a very good display.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is, really is.
I think our mission is just to preserve and protect. It's neat to see country music fans come from all over and they see artifacts from like a Bob Wills fiddle. They're just amazed because that's what the music that they loved and they grew up on and they still appreciate today.
But that mission isn't complete just yet. With so many new and up-and-coming acts in country music, more room is needed. And while the museum has expanded twice before, this 6,000 square foot add-on is the biggest yet, making room for what Pitcock says is countless more exhibits and storage, a new stage for performances, and the new age.
We seem to be getting a more younger clientele of people that come into the museum that want to see some of those artists being represented. So it'll be a more expanded museum than what we have even right now.
The director says years ago, the first place men and women of Texas would go at the end of a long work week was to the dance halls to hear what else but country music, making his mission uniquely West Texas.
It's kind of neat to be able to see that kind of music being preserved in one place here in Brady, Texas, and we're very proud to do that.
And now that we've taken an inside look into the heart of Texas country music, it's time to saddle up and explore more fun facts about Brady, Texas. This time stepping outside the music and into the town's rich history and unique charm. Brady proudly holds the title of Heart of Texas, and for a good reason. It's the city closest to the state's geographic center, with a commemorative marker just 5 miles outside of town. A second monument stands right on the courthouse lawn, making it the perfect photo op in the true heart of the Lone Star State. And Brady, Texas is also known for its Labor Day weekends for one main dish, barbecue. Each year, over 200 teams fire up their pits at the World Championship Barbecue Goat Cook-Off in Richards Park, with more than 5,000 pounds of smoked goat, live music, and family fun. It's a one-of-a-kind West Texas tradition that draws crowds from all over. Well, I know where I'm going next, Crystal.
Yeah, sounds good, doesn't it?
Good barbecue.
I want to check out those cowboy outfits.
Exactly. One thing you can't deny, they had style.
Oh, they definitely had style. All right, Sydney. Well, now that we've uncovered the most fascinating facts about Brady, Texas, it's time to head to our final stop, one that captures the spirit of West Texas in a truly unique way. We'll tell you all about Big Spring, home to a historic hangar that's witnessed decades of history. From training airmen in wartime to welcoming visitors from around the world today, here's an inside look into Hangar 25 Museum to see why this West Texas landmark still captures so much attention.
Big Spring has always been tied to the skies. What's now the Hangar 25 Museum was once the heart of a bustling air base. Museum Director Amber Stokes walked us through the history.
We started here in 1942 as the Big Spring Bombardier School. We're an Army Air Corps training facility. We trained roughly a little over 10,000 pilots. And so for being the small little town it was a big vital part of aviation history.
After the base closed in 1977, the hangar sat empty for 2 decades until it reopened as a free museum showcasing not just planes and pictures, but the story of a community determined to keep history alive.
The military only had plans for these buildings to exist however long World War II lasted. So there was on the books 3 to 5 years. We've outlasted that. And I can see this building, it can be here probably another 89 years.
And for folks here, this hangar isn't just an old building. It's part of the town's identity, a symbol of pride, resilience, and the vital role that Big Spring played in American aviation history.
What I like to call the jewel of this building, which is our AT-11. You see that this plane was handmade. Like every screw, someone hand screwed it together, and it was flying, and it trained thousands of men. They all started in this tiny little town of Big Spring, Texas, and went over to Europe and fought a war in big, huge jets and B-17s, and other bombers.
Visitors from across the world step inside the Hangar 25 Museum, reminded that the stories of yesterday still take flight today. In Big Spring, Sydney Jolivet, News West 9.
Well, now that we've seen why Hangar 25 continues to draw attention as a historic West Texas landmark, let's take a look at how Big Spring got its start and its name. Before the planes, the oil, and the railroads, there was a spring, a natural source of water that made this land a vital stop for wildlife, native tribes, and early explorers. Today, the once prominent spring lives on in name and memory right in the heart of Comanche Trail Park, giving Big Spring its name and its place in Texas history. And now to our last and final fun fact. For uniquely West Texas, Big Spring has made its mark on both Hollywood and the skies. The town was a site for filming for the 1969 Oscar-winning film Midnight Cowboy. And decades later, it soared into the spotlight again by hosting the World Hang Gliding Championship in 2007. And Sydney, I have to tell you, we actually covered that, and it was so cool to go out there and see hang gliders. You think, oh, you would do that from a mountain, right? No, it's because of the airflow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and so there's nothing in the way.
There's nothing in the way. It's high enough, and they have great lift. So
that's awesome.
It was really cool.
And I think they have something coming back, doing something soon. So
let's hope so.
Good to see.
Well, from, of course, hidden hangars to goat cook-offs and natural springs to musical routes, we have taken you across some of the most unique and unforgettable places in West Texas. Each stop on our journey has shown that you don't have to go far to find adventure, history, and of course, a little bit of heart. It's all right here in our own backyard.
That's right, Crystal, and this wraps up our season of Uniquely West Texas, but don't worry, we will be back next summer continuing the search for more local gems and stories worth sharing. Until then, keep exploring, stay curious, and remember, sometimes the best places are just down the road. Thanks for joining us.
And before we go, if you would like to check out more Uniquely West Texas pieces, log on to our website, newswest9.com, or visit our streaming app, 9+, which is available on Amazon, Roku, and Apple TV+. Thanks for watching. Bye.